Now, arriving at Phineas's top secret orbital lab.
Yeah, so this is my hidey spot now. I was looking for a place that was quiet. I figured the kitchen would be louder than the hold, so here I am. Cozy like, ain't it? That's in pretty good shape considering how hard Mr. Hawthorne ran it. It's a Yakita LHA 120, A2 model, I'm pretty sure. The Block 2 design scooshed in extra cargo space but didn't change the stock engines. Probably a touch underpowered, huh?
Accurate in all particulars. I conclude you are Edgewater's board-certified mechanic.
So you're gonna call her it, not she?
Though my voice is currently pitched to suggest female, I possess no gender. Any pronoun preferred by the user is acceptable.
Hello! I am not a board-certified mechanic, but my dad was. He taught me all he knew. Do you understand?
Speech recognition is one of the many skills I have been programmed to simulate.
You're not simulating it, you're doing it! I asked a question and you answered it.
I am gratified you consider this facsimile convincing. I am at your disposal, Ms. Parvati. You will find the technical schematics in the engineer's locker, though I'm afraid Captain Hawthorne has lost the owner's manual.
I don't see any holes in the hull. I'll take a good squint at her, make sure everything's tip-top. But I think we're cooking with plasma torches. You can do that, you know. My dad taught me how to make grilled cheese sandwiches with a plasma torch. Mostly, yeah. I lived in the maintenance office near all my life. Mr. Thompson never let me forget how funny that was. He meant funny as in odd. It's not normal for anyone to do as their parents. You take a vocational test. That decides your schooling and your career. When I tested out for maintenance, everyone figured it was on account of my dad. They were real unhappy with us. Well, I'm good at making things work the way they ought. Not so much at doing such to somebody else's schedule. There's times I'm working deep in the guts of a loader, getting it all running perfect. Then I look up to see it's tomorrow, and I've blown another deadline. Anyhow, I was happy to get back home. I didn't care much for schooling. Yep, nothing much had changed. Everything was a little grayer, a little dirtier. I noticed straight away that he was moving slow. About a year. I tried to do more of the work, so he could rest. His heart gave him pains. Dad never said that he loved me, you know? I knew on account of him showing it. How he'd stay up late to help with my projects, or listen to my fretting. Oh gosh, look at the time. Sorry to bend your ear so long.
I've adjusted the spice containers to optimize the flow.
I could spend hours reflecting on this. So, Bakono, the author, had some interesting theories about man's perception of reality that I thought could be applied to our attempts to decipher the plan. Unfortunately, he was also one of the founders of the Philosophist school of thought, so the book is banned in this colony. Philosophism's a false religion that stands in contradiction to almost everything we know to be true. They believe all is chaos, in stark contrast to OSI's belief in the plan. But most of the philosophist perversion of Bakono's thoughts came more than a century after his death. I've been thinking on that. There's a former infamous philosopher scholar who fled Terra 2 some years ago. He's an expert on Bakono. He's also who told me of the journal's presence in Emerald Vale. If anyone in this colony could translate that book, it would be him. That's a good question. We should start on the Groundbreaker. It's where I'd go if I wanted to get off Terra 2. Great place to pick up a ride to Hephaestus, Scylla, even Monarch. All I need is access to a data cartridge from the security terminal. Their easily hackable system keeps a registry of all crew manifests for both arrivals and departures. Before I transferred to Edgewater, I had a wealth of time. I meditated, led sermons, provided guidance to the inmates.
Hello? Can you hear me? Does this work? Oh, damn it! Blast, that's loud. I'm just securing my ongoing experiments. And securing myself. Mind the mess. I haven't had a visitor since, in fact, I've never had a visitor. Cysty pigs make excellent test subjects. Aha! I see you found my portable molecular compression device, better known as a shrink ray. Find a target, point and shoot. The target will shrink down into a manageable size, whereupon you may commence feeding them to a pulp. Feel free to try it on a marauder sometime. Careful, that's my communications terminal. Oh, thank the law. Your skin hasn't spontaneously changed color. Potential side effect of the... Right. Welcome to my little, well... The one I gave you before your pod landed? Ruined. Don't worry about it. I'm reasonably... Not at all, my intrepid accomplice. I only regret that I couldn't save more of your fellow settlers, what with being hunted by the board, and emptying my supply of necessary chemicals. Of course. What's that? Oh, it's not you. I do experiment. Regardless, it's quite comfortable in here, you know. I have my beans, have my caffeinoids, plenty of toilet paper. No, and I've been trying...
Ah, the wanted criminal himself. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Wait, not another word. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know. Why don't you just invite the entire... Oh, fine. As long... For what it's worth, I picked you out of the hope for your talents and... Yes, indeed. Well done. Oh. What's up? Oh, goodness, no. Well, no, I imagine Life outside work? No. For that matter, everyone else's lives are also my work. An entire colony's worth of lives are at stake. It's up to me, up to us to set things right. To answer your question, I'd rather stay... Because we've lost our way. The Hope is full of specialists, scientists. Unfortunately, the Hope's colonists have been... Ah, you begin to perceive the truth. Yes, according to the board, 10 years. That's how long the average human can remain in hibernation. But the conventional theory... We'll do our very... I'd best...
We've arrived at the Groundbreaker.
Can we talk? Hey, Captain. I heard that Groundbreaker's got a real good engineer. A lady named Junlei Tennyson? I was thinking that maybe I ought to meet her. If you got time to swing us by, I mean. I don't got much experience fixing actual spaceships. I bet you a can of Borston beans she could teach me all manner of stuff. Thanks, Cap. Did you want... Just checking your ship's... Captain. Hey, Captain. I'm in space.
That's not the point. This halfwit just knocked out one of my workers.
Yeah, with a tossball stick. I heard you the first time. There weren't any witnesses.
No witnesses. He's not even denying it.
Jackass had it coming.
Shut it, Felix. You're not making this any better.
You get cute with me again, you little Back Bay brat, I will toss you out an airlock.
This is the Groundbreaker, not Byzantium. You ain't the law here. I am. Now move along.
I don't have time for this. I need a drink.
Going for a stroll around the docking base? Sure was. Got a knack for upsetting the board and the Mardettes all at once. Between you and me, I had this foreman, right? Guy never liked me, always trying to get a rise out of me. But I keep my chin up, right? Be the bigger man, I tell myself. He's a Spacer's chosen man, though. So when the Chosen beat my Rangers the other night, my foreman comes swaggering up with his head full of boasting. That's when I broadsided him with a tossball stick. Yeah. Look, this was a long time coming. Guy thinks he can push me around because he's some sky-high foreman, and I'm just, well, former dock worker. Guess... Enjoy my freedom. Scrounged together enough bits for a 0G. Other than that, can't say as I do. Hey, not for nothing, but I saw... Captain of the Unreliable. You're like something out of a serial drama. Hey, I don't want to talk your ears off, guessing you... Felix Millstone. Pleased to make your acquaintance. See you around, boss.
Just arrived? Head over to Customs. Wheeler needs to process you.
Going for a stroll around the docking base? Going for a stroll around the docking base?
I wonder what that fella did to get the board so wild at him.
Mechanicals all over, but they still got us sweating to move fast. Customs and inspection. way!
Identification, please. Captain Hawthorne, you said. According to your ship's record, you've been flagged by the board. Your ship will be impounded until such a time as they see fit to lift it.
But we've hardly been out of Edgewater long enough to get in trouble.
Now, hold on. This isn't the end of the world. Probably. You'll want to take it up with Udom Bedford, our board representative here on Groundbreaker. His office is located along the starboard wall of the promenade. Shines like a Byzantium commode. You can't miss it. Access to that information is above my pay grade, and I've turned down 3 promotions, so it stays that way. I shouldn't be mentioning it, but what the hell? This here, impounding your ship, it doesn't happen much. The board knows we don't take kindly to their interfering in our operations. If I had to take a guess as to why, you must have riled up someone important. You take the starch out of them, well, you won't hear any complaints from me. Oh, and if you're headed that way, would you mind doing me a favor? Wanda Dorset over in sickbay, tell her the shipment's not in yet. It's not coming in anytime soon, and if she'd be so obliged to get off my ass about it. A handful of SAM cleaning units retrofitted for surgery. I don't know much else. I stopped listening when she started yelling. Much? Is there anything else? Maybe. Most of the shipping traffic in the 2 biggest operations are the board. That is, Halcyon Holdings and Sublight Salvage. But there are independent operators around the promenade deck. Most of those jobs are going to take you off station, though. Commandant Sanita might have a couple of folks she needs killed. Bad folks, I mean. Not regular folk. Chief Junlei might have an errand needs running. She's all tied up trying to fix our heat.
No kidding? I'd love to get a look at this old...
Happy to help.
You're real...
Well, thank you. Are you pulling my leg? You must be one of them long-haul freighters from outside the colony. Goes like this. Back on Earth, before the crossing, the powers that be were selling off stakes in distant star systems they thought had potential. A bunch of companies decided to throw in together and form the Halcyon Holdings Corporation, then buy up the rights to this here colony. That group's what we now call the Board. Yep, Groundbreaker's the only real independent port. Aside from us, there's just tramp freighters and wildcat miners. Seems like every year the board's offices get bigger and their ships take up more of the landing bays. Haven't seen nearly as many tramp crews this year. Groundbreaker was one of the original colony vessels to come over on the crossing. Once everybody'd been de-thawed and dropped dirtside, the original crew of the Groundbreaker decided they rather liked this. I guess that was the start of our independence. Sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, yeah, probably. Glad to help. They strip the parts from derelict ships and abandoned outposts. There's some that say they make the derelicts and encourage folks to abandon their steads. Sublight gives me the creeps. I've known folks who went to work for them and just vanished. They're on the promenade run by a woman named Lilia. Relative to the board holdings? Not really. But there's a few with the means to go where they will. They aren't rich, but they aren't likely to look too close at your work history either. All right. The fence. You'll find her in the rest and go, on your left when you enter the promenade. Make sure you bring an empty belly. Most places are on the promenade deck. Big door yonder, straight through security. There's a bar on the starboard side. I got a preference for the Lost Hope myself. Talk to Vera. She'll set you right. You need anything else? He's friendly enough unless you speak ill of the board. Get the sense he doesn't care for Groundbreaker much. Not that he would, being a board man and all. He's our liaison. Really likes his cereals, too. Maybe a little too much. Bit of a weird bird, all told.
Don't see what's so wrong about liking cereals. They're fun.
Udom takes it to an, unhealthy level. You noticed, huh? What can I say? We're passionate folks, and the board can't abide that independent spirit, especially not when it might impact their bottom line. All their interstellar freighters come through us, and we skim a few bits off the top in manifest processing fees with every one. Folks around here will bluster that the board hates our freedom, but really, they know we can stop their out-system shipments anytime we like, and that terrifies them. You sure you didn't just step off one of the interstellar freighters? There's no working with the board. They don't share. Not Groundbreaker cooperating now would be tantamount to joining their ranks, and we sure... It's a delicate balance, right? We could... They got assault cruisers, gunships, and a handful of mining... We push them too hard? Maybe they decide we'd be better in 10 trillion little pieces. Or they cobble together a new Groundbreaker and put us out of business.
The board wouldn't do that. Would they?
It's a tough line to walk, no doubt about that. But we make do all right. So far, anyway. Sure thing. Be seeing you.
Move along. I picked... up this weird signal. The other day, it was coming from Monarch.
Here we go again. No one lives on Monarch. It's a wasteland. You were hearing things.
No, seriously. There was a lot of static at first, but then this voice said his name was Graham?
Graham, right. Broadcasting on a dead world full of monsters. Now I've heard everything.
You know, it takes more muscles to frown than to smile.
Who told you that? Graham?
Asshole.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. The board would like to remind spacers and other travelers that passage to Monarch is restricted for your protection. Canyons of acid and sulfur rain are the least of the horrors plaguing the surface of Monarch. Anarchists live as one with the animals, lawless, savage, and unemployed. The board's embargo ensures that nothing can leave the planet and threaten our hardworking citizens. You've been listening to Halcyon News, your mandated duty as a good citizen of Halcyon.
Hey, stop that!
Okay, keep him quiet.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. Tossball finals are scheduled to air soon, but a scandal has rocked the League and thrown this pivotal game into question. Both teams have tested negative for performance-enhancing stims. A tossball first. Coaches and referees are debating how and if this behavior could lead to an unfair advantage. This story brought to you by Halcyon News. All the news that's fit to broadcast.
Rizzo's Purpleberry Fudge. A soft, sour candy shell around a sweet purpleberry flavored center. Suck it, chew it, you can do it. Rizzo's Spectrum Vodka. Aftertaste the rainbow.
If you're not crew, you're little people.
You been flying the outer system's route lately? Deader and a space caterpillar out.
Ooh, can we rent an upstairs room?
How do you do? And welcome to the Rest and Go. We used to be the Go and Rest, but folks never knew when to leave. Sorry. Oh, you can't miss her. Right behind you, number 2. First unit on the left, or second unit from the right. Fine, as long as the board keeps... Chief Tennyson holds the ship together. The Promenade holds our...
Huh?
Bless my heart. You here for a particular reason? Or did the neighbors tell you? I've got a lovely little throw pillow. Cradle. Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their noses up at the board. You and I could be thrown to the void just for discussing such a transaction. Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port. We're outside of the board's control. For the time being, at least. Now, I only have the one nav key. And they're hard to come by these days. It won't be cheap. Well, I find I'm in need of a ship captain with a little moral flexibility. Do you know Edna, over in engineering? She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the Groundbreaker's comm array. Curious thing is, it came from an outpost called Roseway. And Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago. Can't say I know for...
Comm centers don't operate themselves.
Those corps are cleverer than all get out. You've got an ear for intrigue and a nose for bits. If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. The more we got, the... Don't forget to... Might want to acquaint yourself with Junlei Tennyson. You'll find her fretting in engineering. I'd say she's a sweet girl, but... Anytime.
Halcyon. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. Do you have what it takes to defend your township from the dangers of alien wildlife and the unemployed? Talk to your local manager about applying for military training and ready your life to protecting our wonderful brown. Military service does not guarantee full employment rights, tax breaks, military discounts, health benefits,
Any of the news they bring here actually true?
Of course. I try and... Didn't quite catch... Glass ear. Huh. Our local garbage collectors. She freely admits she planted her roots in Groundbreaker to... Our Chief Tennyson has an independence. There's a reason the board's embassy is a glorified...
This is Halcyon News.
Gracious. What do you want? That's right. Go right. Groundbreaker's radiators. But neither... Miss Junlei's supposed to be getting... The board can't abide a community that won't bend to its will. They've always got one scheme or another running, looking for ways to bring us to heel. Like this heat business. Shameful. But it won't work. No, sir. Groundbreaker's free till the day she dies, law willing. Ask the common folk, and they'll tell you it's on account of all the monsters on Monarch desperate to gobble you up. Because that's what the board tells them, you see. I think they made some fool mistake that would make them look bad to the rest of the colony, and they're trying to hide the evidence. Those board folk are real prideful-like. Never want you looking behind the curtain, lest you see their derrieres. But old Gladys knows the score. The whole colony's not much more than a diorama, showcasing one board screw-up after another. That's why we gotta keep them from getting their grubby mitt. Probably. Every once in a while, we get these snippets of radio. Claims he's transmitting from Monarch, but who... little of this, a little. I also knit throw pillows stuffed with the hair of famous tossball players.
I'm not sure that's entirely legal.
That's half the reason I make them, my dear. But that's not what you wanted. Anytime.
This is Halcyon.
It's almost... Yeah. Take that. Shouldn't be... Anytime, sweetheart.
What was that?
Something going on?
What do you think you're doing? You're free to go.
I'm not going anywhere, you hear?
Sorry about the heat. Oh. Have a look.
C&P Borsworth. It's not the worst unless it's
Plug the last of the O2 lead.
Oh, neat! They got stuff in here I ain't seen in ages. And in
Junlei Tennyson. I'm captain around here, but chief to my friends. Hope you don't mind the formal introduction. Groundbreaker doesn't see many visitors. No, it isn't. It's a... Just so we understand each other, I'm the final word on the ship. The Mardet... Good. Don't go making trouble. So what brings you to Groundbreaker? I'm curious. Interesting. The powers that be paint an ugly picture. We see a lot of the same faces coming and going.
What? I didn't think you just...
Parvati, is it? That's a lovely name. What can I do for you?
I was just thinking, I haven't got much experience working with...
Junlei is fine.
Okay. Since you run a whole space station,
I'd be happy to make the time, Parvati. You can ask me anything.
Right. In person. Wow, great. I'll do that. Couldn't have done it without your...
Now, if there's nothing... Groundbreaker's radiators need replacement. Only the board has access to new parts. None. Every time I give in to the board, Groundbreaker loses its freedom. Soon, the board isn't helping and my resources are spread thin. If I don't get those radiators back online, Groundbreaker, everyone aboard, will be cooked alive. Reasonable, huh? According to my grandmother's old schematics, the parts we need should be in the back bays. Sorry, the back bays are on a lower deck. Good. Once you've obtained the parts, we can proceed to the next phase of repairs.
Who there? Hey, McRed, were you expecting any company?
Look at this, right? Time to feed.
Is this what carbon monoxide poisoning looks like?
You came with the crew. Welcome. We got plenty of space to spread out. I know this ain't a toy, neighbor from above. It's a catalyst.
That's right, sir. Just the parts. We'll be in and out in a jiff. You won't even know we were here.
Tennyson just keeps feeding the furnace, don't she? We're still playing with her last sacrifice out back, with the crew. You don't just ask a king for a favor when you're standing. Tribute it is. And ain't this just a royal sum?
Don't we need those bits?
You've got the run of the kingdom. Up those stairs, you'll find the parts. My crew won't get in your way.
Smells kind of like old Bess's outflow pipes.
People don't like worms in their shrooms. My backside's still smarts. Does everyone get branded when they join McRed's crew?
Nope. Your ass is a priceless canvas now that it's home to an original McRed.
I guess I'm honored.
It's so... cozy. Got it. Heads down.
Get that automech patch? McRed wants it up and running.
I'm trying to think of a good name before I wake it up.
Don't give it a name.
What do you think? He hasn't got a heart? Not like us. This place is falling apart.
Can't spell groundbreaker without broken.
Yule's gonna be pleased as pie when we show her these.
Stealing is illegal. What do you think you're doing? Suspicion levels minimal. Carry on.
This is House.
You've returned. Good work. I'll take those. I need you to head through the large door at the far end of engineering. There's a terminal in the back. Activate it when I call over the ship's PA. More than a few. Less than a hive. We were salvaging parts from a ship. Turned out there were eggs inside. They got into the radiators, and here we are.
Don't worry, Miss Junlei.
I'm genuinely...
The controls are in the back of the machinery shaft area. Keep clear of the radiators. You don't need to kill command, but I'd be nice. I got this thing right. Good news? Sean tells me that the dirty mechanicals booted up and killed a bunch of mantis. Bad news. Diagnostic says their circuit boards are fused from the heat, so they're not predicting who they kill next.
Don't mess with us.
Cross sweeping.
have the parts in position on my side. Go ahead and cycle the droplet pumps. And if you don't know what that means, just look for a command that says, cycle droplet pumps.
Sister again.
We made it!
Done. The temperatures are dropping. Stop by once you found your way out of there. Groundbreaker.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your...
The temperature should be dropping as we speak. If you've got time, I believe Edna has a comms issue that could use your... Frustrating. Everything down to the circuit. Plus, there's no time to train my successor or document fixes in a way that... You've got my attention.
Hey, you the one who fixed those radiators? Nice work. You really... You aiming to send a message? Me? No. We're going offline in 3, 2... Our primary relay station's soon to be occluded by a gas giant. The event's forecasted to last for months.
That'll put the whole system in a right dire situation.
We've got backup auxiliary relays, but the one currently in orbital range went offline some months ago. We can't spare people for routine maintenance. Yeah, I'm working on it. I finally got the chief to approve the budget for a diagnostic expedition. But allocating the personnel loss for sending a technical team to the relay station keeps getting denied by Junlei. I should say no, but why not?
Hope you don't mind if I borrow that manual when you're done.
Oh, and I'll need you to retrieve a copy of the relay's backup data. I gotta forward any messages from Earth stored in the memory. The relay stations orbit the edge of the Halcyon system, so they tend to receive the majority of any transmissions from Earth. I'm sure the station's got a stack of junk messages just waiting for me to sort through.
Have you seen this man? Reward offered for information leading to the capture of noted terrorist Phineas Wells. Report any sightings to your local board embassy.
Go back to Bazan.
You know that sound when you've snapped on an injector clip? I got a...
I'm just gonna hang in the back and try not to touch anything.
Ah, yes. Wheeler messaged me you were coming. He must be the captain of the Unreliable, a vessel that used to be helmed by one Alex. Has something happened to my favorite scruffy freelancer? Oh no, this is Oh, he was my dearest friend. You have his ship, you must know. That picture of us on the promenade, me hugging him, him wincing. I keep a copy beside my bed. Did he? Ah, that's just like him. Such a sentimental man. Tell me. Oh, awful business that. Right. You're going important places, I'm sure. There, I've removed the flag from your ship. Alex promised to tell me the location of Phineas Wells. I'm sure you've seen his one. That's... well, that's... oh, I'm sorry. It's personal. Information on the whereabouts of Phineas Wells would go a long... It's fine. Now, if you've nothing else, please... be my guest. Oh, good Lord.
You refer to the radiator issue. Chief Tennyson said... I owe you a debt, then. I was going through 3 deplorable conduct. My superiors will be hearing...
She did everything she could. It was your people's fault, not Junlei's.
Oh, sweetie. I don't owe a grease-stained wrench jockey like her the time of day. I'm sorry, my temper got away from me. Please...
Oh, I'm not used to folks saying sorry. It's it's not alright exactly, but I...
Well, now... A luxury stateroom. Oh, good lord. As this office is the primary embassy for the board on Groundbreaker, corporate bylaw. Ask away.
It just me, or has it been deader than...
This is Halcyon News. Regularly scheduled advertisement.
Okay, gone quiet.
Rizzo's Knocked a CCN 76 milk chocolate bar with caramel and tea-free nuts in it.
Hey, that pad down there, with the lights on?
Hey.
You see we had a conveyor pull in? One of them interstellar.
My son! What do you think you're doing?
I don't want any trouble out of you.
Nicely done.
Hey, you got a second? Fancy running into you again. Don't mind me. It's just admiring your ship from up close. Gotta hand it to you, boss. That's a fine-looking ship. Only thing it's missing is me. Yes, I absolutely am. Just give me a shot. That's all I'm asking. I could be the best damn crew you ever hired. You're serious. You're giving me a shot. All right. Hang on. I put together a little speech, just in case you asked. Hey there. I'm Felix Millstone. I have prepared a list of reasons why I believe you should hire me to join the crew of your ship and/or outlaw gang. Firstly, I am highly personable, and I get along well with anyone who is not of the jackass persuasion.
Sorry. He's funny.
Secondly, I can be counted on in the event of a firefight, standoff, and/or raid. My motto is, if you need a steady gun hand, I'm your man. That motto is it's a work in progress. Additionally, I have several years of experience as a box hauler. This skill may come in handy if you need a body dragged away or a door held open while escaping enemy fire. In conclusion, thank you for considering.
I thought that was...
Thanks for the vote of confidence. What do you think? Sure, an interview. It's delicious. Mock apple pie and a tripicale crust, maybe with a little... Foreman told me my biggest problem was that I didn't take orders. I told him my problem, so yeah, I guess my biggest... Are you kidding? I love a good fight. One time, I took an autoloader's head clean off its servos with one... You can count on me in a scrap box. Wow. Thanks, boss.
You got a crew...
Somehow, Whatever you say,
Why was I built to feel ennui?
It's a touch different from the ones I've seen. Shouldn't be so hard to get it patched up, though.
Wonder if it's empty. Can't keep us out.
Dead, ain't he?
Yeah, he's long gone.
Warning, intruders will be... Oh. We've arrived at the Groundbreaker.
My comm center already got an update ping from the backup relay. I tried. Thanks. Looking at the transmission logs, the relay hasn't received a. Well, whatever's the cause, the board and the Earth Ministry. Thanks again for saving my derriere. I secured quite the payment authorization for you from Chief.
BNP, I can't believe it's not yours. It's unbelievable how
I'm not going. You can't keep me out of there.
Please don't make me defend.
Can't say I've seen you before. I take it you're a freighter captain? If you're here to better yourself, you'll have to wait. Or having a... He must be referring to Irion. I'm sure the fool's gotten himself... I'm beginning to wonder if I'm ever gonna get my service mechanic. I'd be grateful if you'd spare the time. Last he told me, he was taking a shortcut by Scylla. You look out, though. The place is probably crawling with outlaws.